Alright, so today I want to give you a tour of my reptile room. I actually want to give you an update on my ball python breeding season, maybe take you around the room and show you a bunch of my ball pythons that I have here in my collection. And I guess I can start with Bobby, the snake that I have around my neck here. This is Bobby, my bamboo ball python. Pretty much retired from the breeding process, and he just kind of hangs out in front of the YouTube videos. That's pretty much his purpose now, just pretty much a pet snake. And Bobby's kind of interesting. He went through a really blue phase, really deep in shed, and now he's come completely out of the blue phase, and he still hasn't shed yet. But if you actually look at him, they can kind of trick you if you're not paying attention. Take a look at this. He's like just ready to shed, completely out of the blue phase, and not even blue in the eyes at all. Doesn't even look like he's shedding at all, which is kind of wild. And he is super tame. Let me tell you, this ball python would not bite you. He is probably the tamest ball python I have here in my collection. And another thing I wanted to mention before we jump into the reptile room, if you've been watching my YouTube channel here for the last 3 years, you probably noticed that I've been posting videos every single day for about 3 years. I have almost 1,200 videos here on my Ball Python YouTube channel, mostly about ball pythons. Over here on my, I guess you can call it my Animal Adventures channel. And I actually started a second channel that is mainly about motorcycles. And I didn't really want to bring a lot of motorcycle content over here to my Animal Adventures channel because, you know, things can get pretty complicated. I've actually tried that before in the past where I kind of mix up the content, and everyone who's into ball pythons wants to see more ball python videos, and everyone who is into motorcycles wants to see more motorcycle videos. And you have kind of this conflict of one channel. So what I actually did is I split it up into a second channel. That channel is called My Motorcycle Obsession, and I'll actually post a link below. I actually just started it this week. I'm up to 30 subscribers on that channel, which is pretty exciting. It's a pretty awesome topic that is it's one of my passions, but I don't really want to mix it up with the ball pythons. And I guess you could say I'm shouting myself out on my other channel, which is kind of interesting, trying to get that channel to grow a little bit. I think it'll be pretty fun. As a matter of fact, I actually just bought a motor vlogging setup where you put an action cam on your helmet and run a microphone up underneath your helmet, and I can actually take you on a ride on my motorcycle, and I can kind of show you the neighborhood. We'll drive around a little bit. Maybe I'll show you downtown Bailey, Colorado, where I live up here in the middle of nowhere, up in the mountains. Alright, so let's stick with ball pythons today. I want to jump over and just kind of give you a quick tour of my reptile room. Alright, so if you haven't seen my reptile room before, I packed a lot of stuff in here. These are all ARS caging racks that hold my ball pythons. Like I say, I have one reticulated python over here, and I can just give you a quick 360-degree tour of the room. This is actually a hatchling rack over here that's completely empty. And then over here, I actually have just some miscellaneous stuff over here in the corner. I actually have a little tarantula. Well, it's not little, she's pretty big. This is actually my Brazilian white knee, a giant Brazilian white knee. I don't know if you can see her. You can probably see it right there. Let me see if I can zoom in on her a little bit. She's getting pretty big, and I've had her for a long time. She's really super low maintenance. As a matter of fact, I need to get in there and clean that enclosure. And one other thing I wanted to show you before we jump into the snakes is, I don't know if you guys ever bred dubia roaches, but I actually just started with just a handful of dubia roaches, and I put them in this little enclosure here, and I keep this over in the rack over there, and I can't believe how productive these dubia roaches are. It's pretty amazing. I wanted to show you this. This is gonna blow your mind as far as these dubia roaches. So take a look at how many roaches are under here. And I actually just went to the pet store with like a whole 5-gallon bucket full of dubia roaches. I give them to my chickens. And I give them to my chickens by, you know, I fill a 5-gallon bucket like a couple inches on the bottom. And these things, it's unbelievable. They're just, it's unbelievable. They'll just like get all over everything. At first I was like afraid to touch them, but look at how many roaches are in here. It's just unbelievable. And if they actually get out of here, they really can't survive because we have a really cold climate up here in the mountains of Colorado, but it's just absolutely insane how these things are multiplying like crazy. I was wondering if I could sell them for like fishing bait or something like that. And there's just so many roaches, it's unbelievable. And I just been pretty much giving them to my chickens. As a matter of fact, I actually went to the pet store and I just gave them a whole bunch of them. I just thinned out probably half of them. There's like twice as many in here versus this. It's unbelievable how fast they multiply. It just really blows me away. And all I feed them is I actually feed them the Missouri rat food. As a matter of fact, I used to grind it up, and now I just put the pellets right in there, and they just kind of plow down. And then for the water, I actually use these little, it's like these little water crystals. It's like a water bead. And if you actually don't put like a bead or something in there and hydrate the bead, then they'll actually drown in the water. So you kind of got to watch that. But let me tell you, if you want roaches, I don't know. I was actually thinking of selling some online. Maybe just having these little, you know, like the round clear containers, you know, give like starter colonies or something, so I don't have to go through and like sort all the sizes. It's just unbelievable how many roaches are in there. And I actually used these little roaches, these little water crystals for a while too. These were good, just these little cheap water storing crystals for the doobie roaches. So that's kind of an interesting side topic that's going on here in my reptile room. That colony of roaches is just blows my mind. It's unbelievable. So as far as the ball pythons, we are pretty much at the tail end of the ball python egg laying season. Right now, I actually have 70 ball python eggs in my incubator, which is pretty amazing. And to kind of wrap your head around how many snakes 70 hatchlings are, take a look at this rack over here. This is my ARS 1065. So if all those eggs hatch, I'm thinking all of them will hatch. Maybe one of them's kind of on the edge that I'm trying to save. It's pretty moldy, but other than that, I'll probably be able to hatch all of them. And if they do all hatch, they'll not only fill this whole rack, this is actually 65 tubs, but I'll actually start filling this rack over here. This is my ARS 1039. And as a matter of fact, I actually have one more female that I think might actually lay some eggs, which would be pretty cool. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna kind of go through some of my females and show you which ones have laid. I got a whole bunch of females that have actually laid, and one of them, as a matter of fact, this one right here, Slim, is the one that I think might lay some eggs. It'd be pretty funny if I opened it up and she had some eggs in there, but she's looking pretty chunky. Take a look at that. And she hasn't eaten for a really long time. So I'm thinking this one might be my last one that's gonna lay some eggs. Although I've had some other ones that got really fat, and then for whatever reason they reabsorbed their eggs and they didn't lay, which is a real bummer. And this is where I keep Bobby up here with the females. He's the only male up here in the female rack. And I actually go through all these tubs at least once a day. I was going through them twice a day for a while, and I found that I didn't really want to disturb the females too much. So I pretty much go through all of them in the morning. So this one is one of the ones that didn't lay. This is my normal female number 4. I can actually show you this big one right here. This is my super dwarf. This is Sunny. He's the male reticulated python that I was trying to breed to Lucy. So this one right here, this weighs probably about maybe 45 pounds. I think I measured him one time. He's about 11 feet long and about 45 pounds. So he's a pretty big snake, and he's going in a really deep shed too. So as a matter of fact, he's clearing up. He's like almost on the same schedule as Bobby. I think they're both going to shed at the same time. Then as far as these snakes down here, let me lower this light just a little bit here so we get a little more light. I was really disappointed in some of these really big het caramels that I thought for sure were gonna lay some eggs. Look at how big she is. She is really big and fat, and the reason she's really fat is because she went back on food. And once they go back on food, I can almost guarantee they're not gonna lay eggs. Usually they don't eat, and they don't eat for months and months, and then they either lay eggs or they reabsorb and they start eating again. which is a bummer on that one. So we'll have to wait for next year on that one. That was that's like almost a triple clutch on that one. So this girl, this lesser, actually ate, and to kind of figure out which ones ate and which ones didn't eat, I flipped the names over on these females. So just at a quick glance, I can see this one didn't lay, this one laid, and you kind of get just a quick idea of which one laid eggs and which one didn't lay eggs for the year. And then it really helps, you know, kind of at this point at the end of the year, you can kind of go through and open them up and take a look at them. So take a look at this one. You can almost immediately tell that this one won't lay eggs. I can almost guarantee it, because she is like facing out looking for a rat instead of just being coiled up thinking about laying eggs. So this one, I can almost guarantee this one's not gonna lay any eggs. Even though she's still off of food, I don't have much hope, unless she lays really late on that one. And then this one laid some eggs too, a really big clutch of eggs. This is my pastel pinstripe number 1 from 2010, which is pretty cool. So that's like an 11-year-old snake right there, which is pretty awesome. All right, so moving over to this side, I was kind of hoping this girl would lay, but she actually just ate a rat a few weeks ago. So I don't know if this girl is gonna lay or not. She's nice and big and plump, but usually once they go back on food, they're not gonna lay eggs unless she lays really late in the season. So I was kind of bummed about that pinstripe. My lesser clown, I'm not sure about this one. If this one does lay eggs, I don't think it will. It's still pretty small. It was kind of like right on the edge of about 1,600 grams when I paired it up. And a lot of times, if you pair them up at that size, sometimes they'll just slug out or produce, you know, really just a few eggs. They won't even do a whole clutch sometimes. So that is kind of a bummer on my lesser clown. I was breeding that to my banana inchy clown. I would have got some really awesome combinations from that one. This one, pastel calico female, laid a huge clutch of eggs, and I've actually popped in a few really small live rats. You can tell this one is starting, you know, once they lay eggs, you know, sometimes you can get them right back on food, especially this girl. And this one, sometimes they'll actually look like that and like they want to eat. This one, yes. So this one ate just one since it laid just the other day. This one also laid eggs, and look at how skinny they are after they lay. You know, they haven't eaten for months and months, and then they get really super skinny. And I usually like to go in, and sometimes you can actually warm up like a frozen thawed rat and then just put it in there right next to them and they close up the tub. And a lot of times they'll actually go after it, even though they won't take it when you're directly offering it to them. And then sometimes I'll actually go in with a small live rat to kind of get them back on food. And usually once they eat 1 or 2 smalls, you can go back to frozen thawed. All right, so moving on up to a few more females. My normal female number 1. This is actually one of my very first ball pythons that I got for free on Craigslist. Turned out to be a female. And this is, I think, the 2nd or 3rd year that she produced eggs. Just a straight normal female, no other genes in there. As a matter of fact, last year I think I did a bamboo with that one. And I'd have to look back at my breeding logs to kind of figure out what I bred to these, to figure out which is which. I don't actually have it labeled here, but this one, I'm not sure about this one. This one looks like it could have some eggs in it. So maybe I could have 2 ball pythons that could lay some eggs, which would bring me over 70, which would be pretty awesome. You know, in a really good year, I'll actually have 100 or more eggs. That's pretty much, I think my best year was like 112 or something like that, which is kind of crazy. And then this one, I'm not sure about this one either, but she looks like maybe she could lay too. As a matter of fact, I should probably get out my ultrasound. She's looking pretty big just right now. And this one has not eaten, so if they haven't eaten for months and they're looking really fat and they're tucked up and they don't have their head out like they're looking for food, a lot of times that means they could possibly lay a clutch egg. So maybe 3 more clutches. I don't know, maybe. Let's see, on this one, this was a bummer that this girl didn't lay. So I actually had 1 male that I bred to a lot of these, which was actually my blue-eyed leucistic, my bamboo lesser. I actually bred to this one, and for some reason, none of them went that I bred to that blue-eyed leucistic, which is a bummer. And then this pied, I thought for sure this girl was gonna go for sure. And then just all of a sudden it looked like she started shrinking again, getting really skinny, and she looks like she's kind of looking for a rat again, which is a bummer. I was really hoping my pied female would lay, which is really disappointing. The other one that's really disappointing is this one, my pastel spider desert ghost. Oh, I just cannot get this girl to lay eggs. And she's from 2016 going on, what, 5 years now? Which is kind of crazy. 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. 5 years. Crazy without laying any eggs. That's maddening right there. Alright, so I'm getting a little bit creative because my lights don't reach the top tubs, but what I'm going to actually do is put them on the table, and I think I could actually get up there to show you these snakes with this crazy setup. I'm like climbing around a jungle gym up here in the snake room. So this is my lesser female number one. This one's kind of interesting too because she laid eggs and she's still kind of in that egg laying mode. If they're, you know, they're kind of wrapped like that, a lot of times it really helps to kind of come in here and kind of break them out of the wrap and see if you can get them to crawl around a little bit, because a lot of times they think they're still on eggs even though they're not, and they won't eat. They'll completely refuse for a really long time. So I found, you know, you can actually go in here, and I've seen a lot of people where they'll like give the female a bath or they'll like change the substrate, but I found it actually helps just to go in there and kind of play with them and unwrap them and let them know, hey, you're not on eggs anymore. And a lot of times that will definitely snap them out of it. So take a look at this beauty. This one laid eggs. I think this girl lays eggs every single year. Just a straight, normal female ball python, and she always lays a really big clutch of eggs. Her name is Lefty. And let's see, I have one more over here. This is my problem child, my albino female. And for whatever reason, this girl likes to regurgitate a lot of her meals. And I'm having a hard time getting anything in there to where she'll actually hold it down. I've tried, as a matter of fact, I just went in with a really super small rat and she ate it, and then a few days later she threw it up. So that's extremely frustrating. You know, sometimes you get a snake that'll actually do that, and it seems like once they start throwing up, they'll do it again and again and again, and sometimes you just have to give them a break. Sometimes you can go in with a mouse and feed them a mouse. Sometimes that'll get them to kind of reverse the process, but it can be pretty frustrating with a snake like that. Alright, so I might as well just keep going and show you all my snakes here in my reptile room. So basically this whole hatchling rack over here, this is completely empty, just waiting on my hatchlings, which I should start being able to cut in about 3 weeks. This whole rack over here, this is completely empty over here. This is a hatchling rack. And then up on top, I actually have 8 tubs open. Those are for future holdbacks. So I'm going to hold back 2 snakes every year for the next 4 years. So I'm kind of planning ahead as far as, you know, the snakes that I'll actually have. As a matter of fact, I actually have another ARS 7010 rack with just 2 levels. So it's basically the same as this, except instead of 3 rows per level, it just has 1. And I actually can put some of my bigger ones in there if they outgrow some of these. So as far as what I have in here, I actually have a Lemon Blast scaleless head. And these are back on food. As a matter of fact, they started eating again. They kind of ran up against a wall. They wouldn't eat for the longest time, and I was like, they gotta break that fast at some point, which is kind of crazy. And then I have my male bamboo calico, really beautiful snake. This is one of Bobby's offspring that I bred with a calico, really beautiful ball python. Absolutely love the bamboo calicos. Probably one of my favorite combinations on that one. And then I have my 2 holdbacks from last year. They're doing pretty good. Take a look at this, how big this guy's getting. This is a bamboo, calico, pastel, pinstripe, possible het desert ghost male. We're looking really good. A lot of the white is really getting cleaned up with age. They get, it seems like they get brighter and brighter the older they get, which is pretty wild. And then I have Sparky. Sparky is my pinstripe coral glow, 50% het pied. I'm hoping this one's het pied because it had kind of a more of a jumbled up pattern. Sometimes the patterns can get a little bit jumbled up when you actually have the het pied, but look at how big this one's getting. So this is a male and the other one's a male too. I was like, I had so many females, I needed some more males. So that one's pretty awesome too. Let's see, this one I actually bred. This is Queen Tut. She's actually going into a shed. I don't think she's gonna lay any eggs. She's almost maxed out as far as the size of the tub over here. I might have to move her up into like a 70 series tub, but I was actually breeding her this year. I don't think she's gonna go completely grayed out going into a shed. And then I have my clown. For some reason, this clown I started pairing her up and she just absolutely stopped eating and would not eat and would not eat. And look, I don't know, she's got some pretty good body condition, but I don't think she's got any eggs in there. I don't think she's gonna lay. As a matter of fact, she's looking kind of puffy. Let's see. Well, let's see. Yeah, she actually ate a few weeks ago. She ate one, so she's definitely not gonna lay. For some reason, she's still off of food, which is kind of crazy. And then I have my Coral Glow. 100% het pied male. This has been a breeder. I actually bred him through a lot of my females to produce some coral glows and stuff like that. And it seems like a lot of my males have been really fasting, getting really super skinny, and now they're starting to go back on food now that it's the end of the breeding season. It's kind of weird. It seems like you get to the end after everyone lays eggs, all the females, then it seems like everyone in the whole collection just all goes back on food all at the same time. Then I have this one up against another 1,000-gram wall. A female pastel scaleless head. Someday these are actually going to get up to size. And then I have these that are kind of up against the 1,000-gram wall too. These are my triple hets. Het for albino, het for pied, and het for clown. I actually have 2 females and a male on my triple hets. Here's another triple het right here. And they look pretty much just like normal ball pythons. But let me tell you, when you breed them together, you'll get pieds, you'll get clowns, you'll get clown pieds, you'll get albino clown pieds, you'll get a whole bunch of really crazy stuff from these. Some of these actually went back on food for a little bit here, just in the last week or so. So I'm hoping most of these will actually come back on food. All right, let's see what else we have in these tubs. This is another triple het female. So these pretty much are all on the same schedule. It seems like, you know, you keep all the same snakes from the same clutch, and it seems like they all go off of food all at the same time and are all fasting at the same time. Then they all start eating at the same time, which is kind of wild. Then I have my bamboo lesser. This is the one that I bred to a bunch of snakes this year. This is actually a male blue-eyed leucistic with the bamboo and the lesser in there. Really bright blue eyes on this guy. And for some reason, everything I bred this guy to, none of them laid eggs this year. And I actually probed him again to make sure he was a male, and he is a male. But for some reason, he just did not breed, which was kind of crazy. Then I have another male from the year before last, which is one of my holdbacks. So this is a male lesser scaleless head. Look at that, looking really good. So I'm hoping at some point I can actually breed this to some of my scaleless head females. So I actually have those lemon blast scaleless head females. And if I breed them together, I should be able to get like a lesser pastel pinstripe, completely scaleless ball python. You know, eventually that is the goal with my scaleless project. And then I have, let's see, this is my most expensive snake in my entire collection. I paid $1,500 for this guy. This is my banana inchy clown male. Was very productive this year. I got a whole bunch of eggs from this guy. So I should be getting a whole bunch of banana inchies. One of my favorite combinations, the combination of the banana inchy, and they'll all be het for clown, which is pretty awesome. And then, let's see, I have this problem child over here. My pinstripe pied female that laid a big clutch of slugs this year. So frustrating on this one. But other than that, I actually only had one other slug here in my whole collection. And this one was pretty exciting. This is my dinker project that I don't know what this is. This is kind of a really weird looking normal. And she actually laid some eggs this year. So it'll be interesting to see what that girl produces, if that pattern is genetic on that one. So I want to move my light up just a little bit more here. Got 4 more snakes. All right, so take a look at this one. This is, ooh, I need to clean the tub on this one. I check all these every day, so I usually catch them really quick when they make a mess. This is my albino pied male. Pretty awesome combination. I produced 1 albino pied female hatchling from this guy, and he's been fasting during the whole breeding season, just coming back on food. Here is another female lemon blast scaleless head. Look at how big she's getting. I think I'm going to be able to breed her with that lesser scaleless head this fall, which would be pretty awesome. And last but not least, we got this guy right here, ready for a rat. This is my pastel Enchi desert ghost male. Pretty awesome snake. So that is pretty much the update for my collection here. All my snakes here in my reptile room, all my eggs, my roaches, everything that's going on. So thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.